Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of the Data Standard Audio Experience. I'm here today with Lon Baker, the Chief Operating Officer at Virtual PBX. And today we're speaking about data and cloud platforms. So welcome to the show, Lon. It's so great to have you today.
Oh, thank you so much for having me, Catherine. It's really a pleasure to be here.
Yeah, absolutely. Could you tell the audience just more about your background and what brought you to where you are today?
Oh, sure. I actually started in doing actual development of cloud type of computing before there was a cloud. Back in the late 90s, we were actually starting to build things here at Virtual PBX back then. I was actually one of the first customers of Virtual PBX before I joined the company in 98 when they were still building things in a garage in San Francisco, actually, and telling the telecoms that, all those T1 lines you're pulling into our garage, we're going to do this crazy internet cloud thing, although we didn't use the word cloud back then. And that brought me all the way through to this point now in my career, nearly 25 years later, where we built everything and moved everything into the cloud, actually, from our old data centers.
Yeah, and isn't that interesting how technology has really advanced over the years, and now cloud is a huge thing, and data science is much bigger also in a lot of different industries. So it's really interesting to see how that's evolved. And a lot of people I've talked to have said, oh, I've been doing data science for X amount of years and I didn't even know it. So it's interesting to hear that. And how has data and cloud platforms really changed over the years from what you've seen?
Well, for our business in particular, it's changed dramatically from the old days of a SQL database that kind of stored everything. You ran these archaic little commands on it in order to get the data out, to now where we're actually using big data and to other types of data management tools, including data warehousing in various cloud platforms in order to manage and understand our business and understand our customers. We just actually went through an exercise recently where we pulled apart all the data from our business over about 6 weeks and analyzed it and got all kinds of insights that we honestly couldn't have gotten in just a few years ago before the ability to manage the data in the way we do now in the cloud.
Yeah, definitely. So interesting to hear. And how is this transforming the business growth from what you've seen?
The transformation is really interesting in the sense of customers now asking interesting business questions, and we ask them ourselves internally. And we're not able to go get those answers or understand things in ways we never could have before in literally minutes, where it would have taken weeks or even months sometimes to really go through in the telecom industry, the bulk of data that we acquire every single day out of just all the phone calls, the millions of phone calls passing over our platform. Understanding that data and what it means to our customers and ourselves was so hard in the past. And now it's actually allowing us to really segment our business in a way that allows us to grow it in a lot more interesting ways that we could not have done. We just could not have done it before. And we just actually finished an interesting piece where we actually, using a BigQuery database, we're able to analyze over 70 million calls to understand some call patterns that were actually around fraud. That allowed us to understand how to mitigate fraud in addition to growing our business.
Yeah, and that's really interesting to hear. And you're doing a lot of different things with specifically the cloud and just building these complex structures. And I'm curious, are there any challenges that you ever have to face just working with this or working on your team with projects like this?
The biggest challenge, I would say, when you talk about challenges, if you're talking about challenges when it comes to leveraging the technology within the business, the challenge really is getting engineers and even operations type of individuals in our teams to understand how to wire all of the different technologies together to get the solution or to get the challenge or the project done. It's really interesting in that way. Those challenges, though, luckily, I've always been a tinkerer, even as COO. So I'm still in there coding alongside my engineers and my team all the time. So I get to see those challenges firsthand. And it's interesting in the sense of things are moving almost too fast sometimes in the cloud for the engineers to keep up with. And that's probably the biggest challenge we have, is making sure that our engineers are staying up to pace with what we can actually accomplish. I'm sure you've seen it in IBM's cloud. I'm sure you've seen it in other clouds, how fast those new services come out and how we have to try to find a way to leverage them if we can, or avoid having them become distractions.
Yeah, absolutely. And as technology is advancing throughout the years, and especially cloud technology as well, where are you seeing cloud changing in the next few years?
I think the biggest change, I know when we're looking at ourselves, is really the implementation of AI. I think that's going to be, machine learning and AI are going to be two interesting places to apply. When you start combining that with the data that your business may acquire or that may pass through your business's platform, those two pieces can allow you to do a lot of interesting things, I think, for your business. Beyond just customer-facing features, I'm talking internally for how you manage your actual business. I think that's the biggest change I look forward to seeing coming down the path for our business, and that's what we're starting to explore ourselves at this point.
Yeah, definitely. Great insight from you here. And what advice do you have for those who are interested in going into a field that might be similarly to yours, just involving data and the cloud platforms?
The biggest advice I'm going to say is get out there and start building things. Really, just start building them. And in addition to that, join the communities. There are communities across all different platforms you can join to stay abreast of what's going on, see interesting use cases that are going on. Obviously, YouTube. You'd be shocked what you'd find on Slack, as well as out in some of the fringe ones like Discord. You'll be interested to see the tech communities popping up there. And I tend to join those communities all the time and watch what's going on. And that's how I stay abreast of what's going on. Because often the engineers and the people actually implementing are the ones that are leading the way, as opposed to the companies that are building the platforms. They're often reacting to what the engineers are actually trying to accomplish in the world. And that's my biggest piece of advice, I would say.
Yeah, no, that's great advice to our community members. And our community, we're always trying to just connect people with one another, from just data experts around the world, really. And what is something the community can help you do?
The biggest challenge for us, like I said, is we're trying to figure out how to apply machine learning and AI to analyze our call traffic, for example. That's just one of the main challenges we're looking for right now, is how do we actually do that in a way that's valuable both to ourselves and to our customers. One of the big things coming out this year from the government is a thing that allows you to prevent fraud calls and robocallers, right? And that's called stir shaken is what that's called, as regulation is coming out. So we're actually looking at, like, instead of just doing a technical thing or a manual thing for customers and ourselves to do, we're looking at, can we take machine learning and AI and apply it to that in some way to actually be able to manage that type of compliance as well as customer experience ourselves. And that's probably our biggest challenge we're looking forward to, and looking at seeing what the community is doing out there.
Yeah, fantastic. And where can everyone find you online to connect with you?
The best places are LinkedIn and on Instagram. LinkedIn is where I do all my professional networking and where I share all my insights. Instagram is where I just share my personal adventures out there on the mountain bike. I'm out there biking when I'm not in front of my computer doing things. And so that's probably the two places to find me.
Yeah, perfect. And to our audience, for more information on the data standard, you can find us at www.datastandard.io, and also on our LinkedIn and YouTube channel. Thank you so much, Lon, for joining me today. It was so great to have you on the show and just hear more about your experiences and where cloud technology is moving towards our future. So thanks so much for being on the show today.
Catherine, thank you so much.